flowers bloom in spring. Tell me who gives the air that you breathe. Ooh. Everything that you need he will provide. So you may as well come on and give him a try. 'Cause he's awesome. Ooh, he's awesome. He's awesome. What would I do without him? Couldn't even do without him. And I don't wanna be without him. He's awesome.
Greetings, people of God. Welcome to ZMR Ministries. My name is Pastor Z, and thank you for joining me for another episode of What's the Issue Wednesday. Today's topic is very dear to my soul. It's called Help. I'm married to an actress. Now, I am an actress, so this is very personal for me. Sometimes it's actresses or actors, creatives, you know, we're a little extra. We live outside the box. We're spontaneous. We don't mind taking risks, jumping over the ledge. The problem with that is it can pose issues in relationships, whether it's in ministries, whether it's marital, whether it's personal, business. It can pose a problem for people who are not creatives. So today we're going to dive into how to manage our relationships when you are dealing with someone who is an actor, actress, creative, and someone who's not in whatever relationship you're dealing with, okay? Today's guest, I'm so excited, y'all. These are my friends. They are so dope. You've probably seen them in so many commercials. You know what? They winning right now, okay? We got Regions, Bank, CVS, Dairy Queen. Everybody else, y'all don't need to know all that yet. It's coming. But help me welcome my friends, my people, y'all. Brittany, Lady Brittany, and Pastor Chris. How y'all doing?
We're good.
We are
wonderful.
Thank y'all for joining me. Now, Chris, you know you're my boy. Mm-hmm. But you know, we women, yes, not only that we got a bun, but also we're both actresses.
Yes.
So I'm always curious to know, what's your background with acting?
Well, I have been acting since the age 15.
Okay.
I started in church, in the drama ministry.
Me too.
Yes, and prior to that, my mom used to always take me to the Fox Theater downtown Atlanta. And we would go maybe once or twice a year. She'd just take me to a couple shows. My favorite was always West Side Story.
Okay.
So that's where I developed
Maria.
Yes. So I developed a love for the craft as a young child. Then moved into drama, and then into high school. I was a part of Prophecy Productions Theater Company, which is a Christian-based theater company here in Atlanta.
Sounds holy.
It was amazing. That's where I really learned and honed my craft and realized that this is what I wanted to do moving forward. So I went to Columbus State University, studied theater performance, and this is where I am after college.
Okay, now Chris, I'm sure that ain't your background.
No, it's not at all.
Now you're in ministry, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and you were a pastor. You're still a pastor, but you used to pastor your own church.
Well, I was an executive pastor.
Okay. So tell me about that. Tell me about that background, and we're gonna go into how y'all end up merging this all together. Awesome.
Well, I mean, I actually started at the end and worked backwards because arts and theater and drama has always been a part of ministry for us. So I started in high school, like Brittany. We actually met in high school, met in church, and just in my discipleship and my walk with my spiritual father, he always had a heart for the arts. And his wife, she was a writer, she was an actress, and so they were very intentional about making that a part of our ministry. You know, understanding that was a way to reach young people. So our background was in youth ministry. And so naturally youth grow older. And so we got older, and then we had young adults, and then we had couples, and then we had families, and we turn around, and now we're not pastoring a church full of young people. We had a church full of young families. And so, I've always been, I'll say this, because people will say, if you're not artistic, you're not creative sometimes. I think they kind of use them interchangeably. And I just like to say that my creativity comes out in a different way, right? And so I see systems and people and logistics and operations, and so being able to serve in that capacity at our church now at Embassy, where Apostle Brian Meadows, he definitely has a heart for the creative. That creative part of my wiring is just stimulated differently, and so when y'all are looking at all the abstract stuff all over the place, I'm making sense of it, you know, in terms of functionality and how does this impact people, and how do we, you know, save souls from this, or what's going to come out of this, the deliverables, the measurables, the outcomes, and whatnot. So I look at it a little bit differently, But yeah, that's me. That's my background.
So to the world or people on the outside, they'll see it as a dichotomy, right? But the two actually run parallel. They're interchangeable. It's two different words, but they do merge together. Yeah. How did y'all merge? Because it seems like you were always around actors and you know, creatives and things like that. So you weren't too far from the arts.
Right.
But you know, to actually meet an actress, like I said, we're peculiar people.
Yes.
Thank you. Don't hate. So how did those two worlds merge? How did that work out?
I mean,
we're different because we've been together.
Well, opposites attract.
Most definitely, but I think, I mean, just the Holy Spirit is, you know, He's Holy Spirit, you know, and ultimately that's what brought us together, right? And so when we look at our personal relationship with the Lord and our desire to serve and be a part of the Lord's house and build His kingdom, those are the things that brought us together. And then when you start to break that down and look at, well, why am I specifically attracted to Brittany and she's an actor? I never saw it like, ooh, you know, this is something I had to work through. You know, I understood that we had purpose together in terms of our union, and her acting is just a byproduct of that. You know, me being a teacher, a trainer, a facilitator, an executive, a business person, that's just a byproduct of what we do. But ultimately our purpose, you know, is sit here to build God's kingdom and glorify Him in everything that we do. And so it wasn't like I had to, you know, figure out, can I be with an actor? Can I not be with her? She gonna be her regardless. It just so happens she's dramatic at the same time.
Dramatic, you know, that's a tight word for me.
It's like calling me crazy.
Right, drama queen, you know. So we're colorful. We have colorful personalities. Yeah. So how does that weigh in your marriage? You know, one having such a big personality, because you said, you know, the acting is a byproduct. I have a huge personality, and let me say something, I'm single. So they married.
Look, put that out there.
And she cute. Okay? So I'm single, they're married. How does that weigh in a marriage? Because that is something that I always think about. You know, as being an actress, as being someone that other people may see as over the top all the time. You know, how can you help us, the ones that are creatives, actresses, actors, you know, in terms of weighing it out in a marriage?
You want to go first?
You got it.
She like, I want to hear what you say first. Talk right, Chris. Talk right.
What I'll say is, acting is not all she is, right? And so, understanding her dreams and her, I'll do it this way. It's easier to tell it in a story. So, Brittany and I, we got married young. She was 22, I was 25. She was right out of college. Married January. We were pregnant in February.
Graduated college December. Married January.
Pregnant
30 days.
Well,
pregnant real quick.
Yeah.
And the first baby was here in October, right?
Wow.
And so right after that, second baby, 14 months later, and then third baby 2 years later. And so Britt was a stay-at-home mom for at least the first 6-7 years of our marriage, right? And she can tell you personally, you know, she went through mentally and emotionally, like, you know, I'm supposed to be Hollywood, you know, I'm called to be on the stage, you know, I got to sacrifice my dreams, and, you know, but at the same time, she also had dreams to be a mom and to be a wife. Right. We didn't know it was going to happen like that, you know, or that fast, you know. As my mama say, if you're not trying, you try.
Well, come on, mama.
And so, while we were in that season, it was very difficult for her to see that she could still pursue her dreams and fulfill that part. Now, me being the leader and the head of my house and supportive for her, I had to encourage her, understanding like I could see it was going to be a season, but I wasn't the one at home. Right. You know, she was the one. You know, you got a 1-year-old and an almost 1-year-old, and then you're pregnant at the same time. So I wasn't there. That wasn't my reality like it was for her. So she couldn't see it, you know. But that season has since changed, and the roles are very much different. You know, I'm the one who's home, and I'm cooking dinner and doing the laundry and picking up so that she can go audition and do her thing. And so it's just being able to discern time and season, just understanding the bigger picture, and then as the husband leading in that. You know, it hasn't been easy because I mean, just today we was doing an audition before we came, and I said we, you know, I'm acting.
y'all.
She got the whole family acting.
I got everybody acting.
I know that's right. It's money for everybody.
Right.
Get that coin.
And so she might think I'm being nitpicky because you know, she'll want to give me direction, but she's passive about it. She's like, you know, do you think you could, you know, smile a little bit? So I'm just like nonchalant about it because bigger picture, I understand she can't just act. She's gonna have to write. She's gonna have to produce. She's gonna have to direct. And so when you're on set, you can't be, you know, son, you might, you know.
Right.
And so I'm like, no, give the direction. What do you want? What do you think? You know, like my ideas, they don't really matter. Like you know, you like my input, but I'm learning that I see bigger for her oftentimes, and so stretching that, and so in the moment, it's like, why is this Negro being difficult in terms of how we communicate? And I am, and I'm okay with that because I see what's coming. I see the bigger picture for her. I see the opportunity for you to direct and be, you know, AD on set or be the director or making the calls, but you can't be passive when you do it, right? And so why not practice with me?
So I like that because this is the reality I'm talking about, because a lot of people just see couples who are making it work, right? Especially in Hollywood, you know, they have this this picture, right? I was listening to the young age that y'all got married, and then you know how everything just boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So many life events happen in a short time span, not even within a year, or not. It didn't take a year.
Yeah,
it was like in 10 months.
Yes,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so to have someone, you know, like Chris, who could see, oh, this is just a season, but to us, it's our dream.
Yes.
Right, and that's why it matters who you yoked up with, y'all.
Say that.
I'm telling you, it matters because you'll get with someone and they'll undermine your dreams. They'll kill it out over time, and before you know it, you're unhappy. You have resentment. You're upset. You know, you're just like, okay, this is not what I wanted. Now I want you. So you know, tell us about, you know, that process mentally, emotionally, because that I'm sitting here listening, and just to add this in, I was in a relationship where that happened. We didn't even get married yet.
Wow.
But I found myself losing, you know, my passion. It was still there, but I was just like, well, I'm just gonna make this work. And so it's because I wasn't yoked up with someone who had my same vision for me. Do you get what I'm saying? They had a vision for themselves, for us, and for themselves, but not for me. So tell me what that was like. Like, walk us through that, because I'm sure there are so many other men and women who are going through it right now, or will possibly go through it, where life events don't necessarily go in the order that you anticipated.
Right. So, as mentioned earlier, I graduated from college with my theater performance degree, ready to go out into the world, specifically go do stage work.
And be an actress.
Yes. Didn't plan on even staying in Georgia. It's like, we're going to get married and we're going to do ministry, but if I have to hit the road and go do some shows in New York, Chicago, I'm out. You understand, or you would not be married, right? So I'm like, okay, God, I'm here. I have saved myself for my husband.
Yes.
That's another part.
Everything right.
I did everything right. I checked off all of the nicks and or whatnot. And so I'm married, and what really hit me was finding out I was pregnant. Because I can be an actress and be married.
Right.
But now I'm having to give myself to a husband and a child. And I'm still a child myself. Like 22 years old. I don't know myself. I don't know. All I know is I want to be an actress. I want to go put my name in the lights. And so that quickly shifted when I had to put on the mommy hat.
Right.
And now you're struggling with, am I being selfish because I still have desires to do what I want to do, but now I have to take care of this child. I have to be a mother and a support person for my husband. But what about me? And then you go through just these guilt trips. And I'm like, God, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because you gave me the gift. You gave me the vision. When is this going to happen? And to hear your husband say, it's not always going to be like this. Or your mother say, this too shall
Look how she said it's so dry, though.
Yes.
It's not
always
going to be like this.
That's how she heard it.
That's exactly how I heard it.
Right.
I had many moments where I would just lock myself in the closet, cry it out, and then get yourself together before your kids could recognize, what's that? What's wrong with mommy's eyes?
Right.
You're like, you have to do all of that in private. One thing I did do was build my relationship in prayer with the Lord. Like, oh my goodness, me and the Holy Spirit were best friends during that time, and he just reminded me that I created you for such a time as this, and that time will come. you know how you can watch movies and you're watching TV and that thing just makes your belly jump. You're like, I'm supposed to be doing that. And I had that for 5 years. And I'm so grateful that it never went away. That passion, it burned more and more every time I was in front of a TV or watching a film. And Chris, he would just encourage me, you know, when the kids were getting older, it's okay to go do what you want to do now. And then I had a moment where I was still fighting that guilt.
Right.
And
as a mom.
Yeah. And there was this headshot party going on that I just so happened to come across on Instagram. And I said, you know, what if I just go take a few headshots and just, you know, see what happens. Just get out there and start meeting some people. And then the money stuff came in. I'm like, I don't think I need to spend that much money on some headshot. Chris was like, just go.
No, but let's speak to that. So this a lot of Brittany's challenges were really her. It wasn't me. You know,
basically he said, don't blame me for it.
Right.
Y'all heard that, y'all? That's the other time. Don't blame it all on the spouse.
I'm gonna give you stages to it, because even then, one of the promises that I stood on, that we stood on when we got married, is in Romans 4. It says, you know, Abraham did not waver at the promise of God in unbelief, but he was fully convinced that what God has said, he was surely able to perform. And I tell people this because we read the Bible stories, right? You know, oh, the ram in the bush, go sacrifice your son. Abraham did not know that there was a ram in the bush.
Right, he didn't.
So his mental, emotional, you know, just, I gotta go be obedient and sacrifice the very thing the Lord promised me. So you're telling me, Lord, I don't believe my whole life that you called me to do this, that I have a place on the stage. You called me to be before people on the big screen, on the small screen, whatever. And now you say I potentially have to give it up. And so, although I believed and I knew it was a season, I think what was happening for her, and we've talked about this a little bit, was that she had to be willing to give up the very thing that she loved, so that it wouldn't become an idol. You know, so that she doesn't put that before God. And even now, we have conversations. I have to remind her, look, you just as much as an intercessor as you are an actor. You know, you just as much a healer as you are. You know what I'm saying? And so having that be reminded, right? And so as time progressed, the seasons change. And like if we were in a season where money was tight, I'm gonna go, like, I'll spend the last $1,000 on my dream and figure out, like,
listen,
I'm gonna figure it out. Look, I'm the person that'll make that faith leap. You know, are we gonna pay the rent, or are you gonna buy that plane ticket? They got at least 45 days before they file some pay. Like, I'm that dude.
It takes time. They ain't getting put out today.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's not that person. You know, she's like, if I don't see it, it's not gonna happen. No. Where's the food?
Get this though, isn't it interesting? That's so funny, right? And I say this because it's like you're the actress.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to have the mind of there are no boundaries. I'm spontaneous. I don't see black and white. I'm just gonna jump out there. This is my dream. We're gonna make it work. But Chris is really the one that's just like, hey, let that go. Go after it. Isn't that weird though? Because it's usually the do you get what I'm saying? So that's very interesting that you said that. Another thing I want to point out, you guys, is what Pastor Chris said when he said, you know, it was basically, it was good that you went through that time, you know, where you got close to the Holy Spirit, so it wouldn't become an idol. And what we're seeing, especially now, especially in ministry, you see so many people who started out with a pure heart, right? The oil was flowing, and they were running after the oil, the spoken word over their life. But then when all the things started to come that God promised, just like Abraham, will make you a father of many nations, you know, God has sent us through tests to see, are we willing to give up everything that we want for ourselves? Before I was running from ministry for a long time, okay? Before I went through my ordination as a pastor, I was like, Lord, if this is really what you want me to do, okay, I'm gonna give everything up then. I'm not gonna act, I'm not gonna do this, and I was like, you know, that's really not what I wanna do, but I'm gonna do it for God's glory. And so when I gave an unyielding, like a yielded yes, Lord, I will do this. It was relentless. Like, I wanna do what you want me to do. Then he started restoring that, like, I don't want you to give that up. I gave that to you for a reason. I put it in your heart for a reason. There's purpose in it. There's oil in that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so now that it's at the point where it is now, where I am in life, I'm not gonna say it's impossible to become an idol, but I've gone through so much that it's just like, I know that you ain't real, but the oil on my life is.
Yeah.
And so if God opened this door for me to do this, to pursue this, then there are some souls that He want me to snatch up. It's all for the glory of God. It's all for the kingdom. Everything should point back to Him, because He is Elohim, right?
Yeah.
He's the creator God, and He created us in His image. And so everything that He does, we're supposed to do. Not only that, He created us in His image, in His likeness, but He also created us to be able to create something else. So everything that we put our hands on, everything we put our mouth on, everything we birth should have something, a seed in it to point back to Him, because everything He spoke is still speaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything He created is still creating. So everything we speak and create should still be creating. It should always point back to Him. I didn't mean to get into all
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
But
that's fine.
that hit me, because you see so much idolatry, and I think people think just because they aren't worshiping a statue,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
or I'm not doing any rituals or anything like that. But you can idolize anything. You can idolize your intellect. If you're the smartest person in the room, you idolize that. You put that clock. Why you look at her, Pastor Chris? Look.
I'm just looking.
We ain't starting nothing now.
Looking out.
We not. We've been having a good conversation now. My bad. I ain't even mean to say that. But that really stuck out to me, because it needs to be said. So many people idolize the idea of it, especially in wanting to be in the lifestyle. I want to see my name in lights. I'm gonna be a baller. I'm gonna be on the red carpet. And it's like, do you remember why God put you there? Because he'll bring you before great men. Your gifts will make room for you and bring you before great men. But I tell people all the time, okay, but once you get before them, now what?
Yeah.
Because the real gift, it may be the prophetic word. So can He trust that when He puts you in front of those great men, are you gonna prophesy? Are you gonna pray? Are you gonna say what thus said the Lord? That's where we need to be at. So that idolatry, thank you for saying it. That's huge. I'm sorry, I just had to say it. So another thing I want to tackle, I heard you say that, of course, it started at the beginning where it was like, oh, my dreams are being sacrificed. I'm at home. And then you said there's been a role reversal.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're doing all the at-home stuff. How is that? Like, is that something y'all just talked about, or it was like a natural thing, you just moved right into it?
For me, it's natural, because I have a mother who made sure all her sons were extremely domestic.
Okay.
So that wasn't a hard adjustment for me. And we joke about this all the time. Like, I won't be like Kevin Hart. I won't be a real husband.
We say, are you Mr. Brittany? Yes,
I am.
Yes,
I can be,
proud.
I'm not. Yeah, that wasn't a hard adjustment. And then we love our children, so I'm cook. She can cook. That wasn't a big adjustment.
So what's the bottom line? And I tell people this all the time. I was talking to someone the other day, and I said, when you are looking or you are growing in success or ministry or whatever it is, it's important to set a bottom line before it comes. That way you won't waver, right? When you have to make decisions, or you have to make a choice, or you have to choose, okay, do I choose God or do I choose my idols? What's the bottom line with you guys' marriage at the end of the day?
Well, it's definitely honoring God in everything that we do. Something that we are proud of ourselves on is how we're teaching our children values for our home, and they are being honorable, being hospitable, being honest. It's just 3, right? One more. Honorable, hospitality, honesty, and humility.
Come on,
yeah.
You can't forget humility.
Yeah. So we try to align decision making and pretty much anything that involves our family with those values. And if it doesn't go with it, then we gotta take another look at it.
Yeah, and when it comes to why we got married, we understand that God called us together to be an example of not only what godly marriage is, but what salvation is. I truly believe marriage is a picture of our salvation, of our relationship with our Lord. And so if what we're doing is not pointing back to that, then we know we don't need to be doing it. You know, even as you were speaking earlier, it just reminded me, even now, how since we've been at Embassy and I've been walking with Apostle Meadows, like I'll watch him, I was like, man, how's he doing all this stuff? Like he work. And I've learned to really understand more time and season, right? Because you can have it all, but you can't necessarily have it all at the same time.
Right.
And so if I understand this is the season where I need to be processed and I need to be growing and he needs to be training me as a spiritual leader, then I focus on that. And then that season is going to transition and change. And then I get the opportunity to, you know, build my business and take care of, like, you know, and understanding that you don't try to do it all. And then the second thing is we're dimensional, right? And so, like I said, she's not just an actor, but she's a mom, she's a daughter, she's a sister, she's an intercessor, she's a healer, she's all of that, nurturer, and we can't just limit ourselves to any one part of how we're created. And as long as we continue to remain honest with ourselves and don't lose sight of the big picture, which is our God being glorified, we'll be okay. Because it might mean, you know, there is a time where I have to sow. And sowing may look like just pouring out to other people in so many different ways. But
while you're being neglected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but I have to understand that's the season of my life. And it starts to make so much more sense when we understand that we only know and see in part.
Right.
And then you have to be faithful and trust, all right, God, I'm only seeing this much, but I know this is the big picture. Let me trust that you're going to handle the rest. And remind yourself of that. And so the bottom line is, yes, let's honor God in everything that we do. Let's not forget our purpose. And then understanding that, like you said, we're always creating. Because the Spirit of God is in me, I have the ability to create. She'll tell you right now, as she's auditioning and she has a wonderful agency representing her and she's getting these opportunities, I'm always like,
but what you create.
But what you doing?
Right.
Because you still ain't, even in those opportunities, you still ain't the boss. So what you doing?
Come on now.
Right? And so I'm always in her ear about it. You know, even me, I have the tendency to say, okay, I'll just do it myself. And I'm like, no, that's her thing. If she don't do it, then this thing gonna get done. But I'm gonna keep pushing.
So what I like about you saying, okay, we see things in parts, that's what the Bible says, or we see through a glass darkly. What I love, I was sitting here while you were talking, the word download came, right? And it's interesting when we think about our phones, when we think about our electronic devices, it's like the people who created it knows when it's time for an update, knows when it's time for a download. They can see all the things we're complaining about. Oh, it's a glitch, it's this, and that's happening, and stop it, I can't, my internet's not working fast, this keeps shutting down, that app is not working. And they're looking at all of that, and they're working on it behind the scenes, even though they know we're complaining about it. We're saying, I'm a switch. I'm telling you, I'm tired of Sprint. I'm tired of AT&T. I'm tired of iPhone. I'm tired of this one, you know, Galaxy, and all of those things. And the creators are already 10 steps ahead of us. Yes. And then all of a sudden you'll say, hey, you have an update available. You have a download, and God knows when to say, hey, I have a download for you. And then boom, it hits you, right? And then you find yourself, oh, well, let me do this. Well, let me do that. Now I want to create this. Well, first of all, I just wanted to do that. Now you have all those things. What was some downloadable or updatable, if those are words, moments for you guys?
Those are good.
Got him.
Well, no. I'm ready.
Look, Chris is ready this whole time.
I'm still ready, but I want to make space for her voice.
I'm thinking about just during the pandemic and us spending more time together and getting to know each other even better, because I was all up in his face during the pandemic. I was like, the kids, get out. I'm just going to spend time with your daddy now. And just finding out that we have a voice in other married couples' lives. Okay. We started doing pillow talk with Embassy Stream.
You know what? Let me say. Okay, I tuned in one day. Hold up, we gotta get off topic. Look, I gotta move the wig for a second. I tuned in one day because I was like, oh, they know Chris and Brittany. They doing pillow talk with couples. I was like, first of all, you're disrespectful to the single saints that's holding ourselves. You know, they Apostle was on there typing to like give us some more games. I was like, first of all, I'm gonna check out. I just had to say that. I was hating. Whatever. One day, y'all, it's coming.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay, go on and finish with you.
But just working through that process, I'm not. You would think that I would just love to be in the spotlight, but I'm not the one who does all the talking.
Introvert or extrovert?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's me. But I was doing it with him, and I enjoy it. And I'm like, okay, God, I can do this. I can give me some more assignments that I can do with my husband because I enjoy just spending time and just working through different things with him.
Yeah, my heart is just to serve. Honestly, if I'm honest, like I don't like do nothing for real. Like every time, is she laughing? Because it's true. Like, what you want? Nothing. What you want me to burn? Leave me alone. Nothing. Y'all can leave. Just own myself. Like I am. But I do have a heart to serve and uphold. As I embrace the background.
Gotcha.
When the song says I can play the background, like that's me for real. I thrive in that space. However, I know that I've been stretched to come forward, and so when I hear your question about updates or downloads, those moments, I think of milestones. So I think about the birth of my child being my oldest child being one of those moments because it adjusted how I lived and how I operated. Being fired from a job, and I've never been fired from anything in my life, and how that pushed me into the life of being an entrepreneur. Having the roles change where now I'm fathering and mentoring young people and young adults where I was a student, and then I have these aha moments like, oh, this is why this was important, or I didn't really get it then, but I get it now. The pandemic definitely this season, and just being with my family and being around them a lot. Even now, having our children to get older, these moments are it's one. I've been saying this a lot. I'm patient in waiting on the promises of God to manifest, but our patience, we still have to have a sense of urgency about how we live because our time is finite. And so if all this stuff is in me, what's really limiting me from making it happen? And we can blame resources, we can blame, where we grew up or the relationship, but all of those things, if I'm really focused on the dream or the passion that's within me, it's going to work out. Now, how? It's different for everybody. There's no formula. So you read the books, like The Wealth Choice and Think and Grow Rich, and you read these stories. Every single story is different, but the principles are the same.
But if we knew the how, it would rob us of our progress.
That's good. You need to tweet text right there.
Copyright. No, seriously though,
it's like a cheat sheet.
It is. And so the thing which we know our ultimate cheat sheet is the Bible, right? But if he gave us every step up front, a lot of stuff we wouldn't even walk out.
I asked this question.
We see it ahead of time.
I asked this question a couple weeks ago. I was talking to some people, and it dawned on me. I've read this so many times, where the scriptures tell us that God hardens Pharaoh's heart. Like he made his heart hard.
Right.
So if he hardened his heart, why would you then go tell Moses, go tell him to let my people go? But you already know his heart is hard. Right. But why would he do that? And God does that even now. There are some things that we just can't control, and it was less about Pharaoh's heart being hard and more about the process that Moses had to go through as a leader. He was a man who stuttered, who wasn't very confident, who didn't want to go before. You know what I'm saying? And so he says, "Nah, I'm gonna harden his heart. And I'm gonna make you go do it anyway." Like, what sense does that make? So, like you said, if we know the how or why God is doing everything, we would then abort the process of us having to endure what we need to endure. I love, even now, I'm a facilitator professionally, and oftentimes we say the product is in the process. Our goal is to pull so much value from the experience that's where the learning takes place. It's not so much about the end result, but can you go through the process in such a way that I'm picking up, this is why I'm here now. Like, this is why I'm struggling. This is what's being exercised in me. Lord, you have closed all these doors and you won't allow me to find a job because I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur, and I start to figure that out, or I have this gift inside of me that can take care of my family, or I struggle in this area with relationships because I got to get this area of my life, but I got to be sensitive while I'm in the process to make sure that that happens. And if I'm not sensitive to the Spirit enough to know that, then I miss what's happening while I'm being processed. And the reality is, we're going to continue to be processed for the rest of our lives. And those who do it and pay attention to it are the ones who excel. They're the ones who succeed. It's not avoid the pain, but I realize, okay, pain is a part of the process, so if I can endure it, then I'm going to be okay. It's just, I face it,
So we've discussed, and just through the conversation, we've learned how Chris constantly and consistently pushes you out of your comfort zone. What are some things that Brittany does to push you out of yours?
Mr. Williams, he so
That's Chris,
eloquently speaks, but he has a sarcastic tongue as well. Yes, he can be really sarcastic at times.
The Bible calls it shrewd.
Shrewd. Okay.
My bad.
And I just can't stand it. And now I'm seeing it in his kids. And I'm
His
like,
kids.
oh no. I'm just like,
They
I
know
think
kids
it's
now.
in the bud. And so sometimes, I'll bring it to his attention, and it's okay to be like that at times. But I hopefully encourage him not to be as sarcastic.
No.
It depends on the company that's around too, because everybody can't pick up on that.
Right.
And so I always want my husband to be viewed in the light.
Right.
Like, yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
know.
that's
not
what I was gonna say.
condescending.
That's probably where she pushes me the most, and it's to remain integral in everything. Integrity is not necessarily lying, it's just being who you say you are all the time, even when no one's looking. And I think that who she is, I always talk about, like, oh, I didn't deserve her, and she's grace to me, and and I still believe that to this day. I'm like, ooh, I believe she married me. All the good stuff, like, and I even have friends, I'm thinking like Case guy, he always like, bro, man, you don't know what you got. You know what you got. And granted, she ain't perfect, but like, I'm talking about, it's real. It's real out here when it comes to, for a heterosexual, professional man, spiritual leader. There's oftentimes temptation that comes in the form of women or money, pride. At least women and money, you can see pride can sneak up on you. And so by having someone who has that lens, she, once again, going back to, my wife is not confrontational, even with me. So if she has to have a hard conversation, she's usually passive about it, until she just gets to the point where she can't take it, and it goes from extreme passive to like, why you raising your voice?
Right.
Like, why you talk? I'm not. So we go from 0 to 100. There's no in between.
Right.
But she really pushes me, like I said, in that regard to really remain integral, and then more practically. And I still haven't done it, but oftentimes she'll remind me in terms of writing. Like, I have 1,000 people and prophecies about writing books, and I got a ton of notes that I have yet to compile and write. And so that's the thing I would say that's on my back that I have yet to venture or make time for. And so that's where she stretches me in that area.
So earlier you guys mentioned was it 4 principles for your kids?
Values,
Yeah. The humility,
Honor.
I was saying honorable in my head, and I was like, I don't think that was it. Hospitality, and what else? Honesty. So with those principles in place, those values that you call them, with those in place, and then they see the ministry, they see the artistry. They've actually grown with y'all.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? They've been there every step of the way. They've seen the ups and downs, the downs and outs, the ins and outs, all of the process. What do you hope to pass on to your children? What do you hope that when they come to themselves and say, Mom and Dad, you know what, after watching you guys, this is what I gained from that?
I want my children to always know that all of their answers are found in their relationship with the Lord.
Right.
That having a personal relationship with God is number one on their list. That they have grown up seeing mom and dad go into their personal closets, spending time in prayer, and then gathering as a family, teaching them how to pray, because that is a guaranteed success for them, is knowing how to pray, how to build relationship, how to have a spirit of discernment. They have discernment, they'll be able to make better choices in life.
It's true.
So just having that foundation and like them really standing like, my mama didn't teach me nothing else. I know how to call on the name of the Lord.
Right.
Because he's going to guide my every step. And then the practical things that we've taught them, I know that, they'll remember them. And I don't expect them to be perfect when they get older. But I want for that to be their foundation.
Yeah. I just want them to be better, than I was and our parents were in every aspect of their life. I oftentimes talk about, as a kid, I was a very independent child. And so I think there were some pivotal decisions that I made that my parents didn't push me on. Even if they knew this could be better, it was like, well, that's what he wants, let him do it. Something as simple as, I remember when I got to my senior year in high school, I mean, I played sports my whole life, but I knew I wasn't going to be a professional athlete. Like, that wasn't my desire. And I was in this space of doing ministry and learning about business. However, I never thought, or no one ever challenged me to use my athleticism to just fund my education, just, in terms of using a system. And so I wasn't pushed in that area, or when it came to my credit or saving money, financial things, I was fiscally responsible to a degree, but I didn't always listen. So it's things like that where, we've been, and it's like putting your foot in your mouth sometimes. We've given our kids a voice and allowed them to express themselves. We didn't want a parent
We're trying to change it up a little bit. Right.
And we realize now, it's like, oh, that's why my mama would say stay over there. Because once you give them a little bit, they take too much. But I say all that to say is that I just want them to know and experience far greater and far better than we ever had. And the source of their far greater and far better is their relationship with the Lord.
Got you. So, all in all, I mean, y'all have just dropped so many nuggets and wisdom. I know we laughing and talking, but I'm taking it in because I'm like, man, that's legit right there. That's solid. But what would you say to other people, other couples, other men, other women, individually, but as a couple, whether, like I said, whether it's business, whether it's relational, whether it's ministry, what would you want to leave with other people to say, hey, this is what works. This is, because we're looking at you guys and it looks like, hey, they figured it out. Yeah. They got it together. It's a running machine. You know what I'm saying? How do we get there? What do you want them to know? Or what's our takeaway?
Takeaway. I always just go back to purpose. And even though we are married and we're one, never forget who you are. Never forget who you are. I'm speaking to the women right now, because we have to look to the male as the leader of the house. But we brought something. We brought some.
Right now.
What?
Say that again. It's different teachers.
Oh, it is different teachers. But yeah, don't put me in nothing. They do. Their voice holds weight in the house. And we learn to submit to the vision that God gives them, but don't lose your voice. Right. As the wife, as the mother, as the individual. And they loved you and decided to marry you for a reason. So keep all of that alive in you and just build on it as you're connected to your mate. But don't lose yourself when you say I do.
Good.
Yeah. And so my giveaway or takeaway would be learn yourself by learning the Father. The more you grow in your personal relationship with the Lord, the more you'll know who you are. And knowing who you are you can better respond to the person whom the Lord has called you to, right? And so I understand I am not her creator. I am not her maker.
Say that again.
I am not her creator. I am not her maker.
Well.
And so when I have an issue, when I have a challenge, it's not my responsibility to be the fixer. It's my responsibility to be the prayer or the faith walker in terms of submitting that to the Lord and letting Him work that out. And when it just comes to marriage, just don't quit.
Yeah,
I think that one of the best pieces of wisdom we got was just don't quit, because it will be hard. It's gonna be great, and it's gonna be ugly. You know, it's gonna be easy at times. It's gonna be hard. It's life.
Yeah.
And so my own life isn't just a constant of happiness, right? It's crazy, right? But if I can be emotionally and spiritually centered enough that everything that's happening around me doesn't shift me or waver or take me off my course, I'm going to be okay. And so I stay centered by that personal relationship. And so don't quit once you commit.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, don't quit.
Yeah, you can have that one. You can have that one. Don't quit once you commit.
I mean, well, that's OJ. Never mind. If it don't fit, you got to.
Don't quit.
Yeah.
And just thank you too for this opportunity to share these nuggets.
No, I appreciate y'all because it's. I mean, like I said, being in the industry, you know, and in ministry, and being single, you do often think about that in dating. You get what I'm saying? And you oftentimes kind of get fearful, like, you know, what if they not lined up with who I am? And sometimes you feel like you have to date somebody who's just like you in order for them to understand. So it was just a lot for me. I mean, that was encouraging. You know, some unanswered questions that I've been questioning God like, come on, Lord and Savior. You know, come on, King. Right. So I appreciate y'all for taking the time for giving us those nuggets. Listen, everybody that's listening, they have given you a blueprint on how to do it. The dynamics of going from the different stages of life, that they're not going to happen in the order that you want them to happen in. You know, the download may not come when you want it. The update may not come when you want it. But don't quit, right?
Don't
walk it out. Keep God number one. That's what they said. You know, when you know God, you know yourself. Understand your purpose. And don't quit.
That's it.
Don't quit. Look for the download. That's what I want everybody to really take away, because you should be keeping God first anyway. And if you ain't, keep Him first now. Okay? Fix it, like Lady Brittany said. But I want everybody to understand in this segment, I hope it helped all of you all out there to understand your mate, to understand your family, to understand your coworkers, whoever it is that is a creative, or they may be passive, or they may be sarcastic. They have given you the tools in order to utilize those tools in order to make it through, to understand what you need to do in the next steps. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all taking the time. I thank you for being honest and candid. You guys, what's the issue Wednesday? Help a American actress. You don't need that much help because they just helped you. Thank you for joining us again. Join us next week. Another issue of What's the Issue Wednesday. And now another episode, I'm sorry. And then tomorrow, don't forget, we have Bible study. So join me again. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Bye.
Get your mind, get your brains, get your body, get it up, moving forward. You gotta keep it pushing, Get your mind, get your brain, and if you got your act together, we can make it happen in any kind of weather. 'Cause I gotta make something out of nothing.